Hello, my loves. Welcome into this reading for those who have this full moon in Virgo in their fifth house. That means you have a Taurus rising and or 16 degrees 40 minutes of Virgo shows up in your fifth house. If you haven't already watched the introduction to this reading, you can go ahead and check that out. It's linked in the description, popping up on YouTube. And it's just extra information about this cycle for you that you may or may not want to dive into. So the houses represent where something is happening for us in the Zodiac story, in the Zodiac journey. So this is where the full moon is happening in your life right now. It's pinging your fifth house. And one thing that I love about these readings and this system that I've been developing is it helps us to learn more about our chart, about the energies and influences of our chart. I like to say that the sun sign is like a breadcrumb of the astrological cake. And there's just so much more depth and so many more influences for us to understand how all of these energies are present in our lives. So Virgo, using the whole house system, Virgo is the ruler of your fifth house, meaning that the fifth house energy, which we'll talk about in a minute, is always going to have this Virgo vibration for you. You're always going to be able to tap into the Virgo energy and bring it into this house. The fifth house is the house of creativity. It's ruled by the fifth sign of the zodiac, which is Leo. So this house deals with the area of our life that covers fun and games, pleasure, hobbies, creativity, and first child energy, because birthing children is a creative expression, right? And so we're talking about this area of your life. And so in this area of your life, you have Virgo present, which means that you can bring in those Virgo qualities of precision, analytical energy, this energy of being helpful, this energy of being observant, logical, is always going to be available for you to tap into when it comes to your creativity and your creative expression. Now remember that the shadow side of Virgo is it can be overly critical, overly analytical. And so just be aware that you may be overly critical about your ability to have fun, about your creative expressions, whatever it is that's in this house. Maybe you're overly critical of your first child. Who knows how that expresses for you, right? It's different for everybody. Just be aware that this theme, this energy is present in this area of your life. Now, for this full moon in Virgo, this energy wanted us to focus on celebrating full moon energy, logic, Virgo energy. So we're going to be celebrating our logic within our realm of creativity. We're going to be figuring out how to do that and getting advice on how to do that from the Goddess Power Oracle. So if you haven't already taken a few deep breaths, opened your heart to receive the guidance most aligned to you at this time, and called in your spiritual support team if that feels good to you, I invite you to do that. And we're going to find out here how to celebrate logic within your creativity. Okay. The card came up reversed, which means this card has an alignment message for us. It's the Great Goddess. I like to show you what it looks like reversed because I feel like there is some sort of message and transmission in the reverse energy of the card. But then I also like to turn it upright. Okay. So the Great Goddess, her theme is sacred unity. Her number is 17. So you may see this number throughout the lunar phase to amplify this message for you, to indicate that whatever's going on or however you see it or however you encounter it or wherever it is, it's bringing back this message for you. It's bringing up this message for you to pay attention to. Okay. Unconscious choices and behaviors may be causing a distortion in your world. Difficult feelings are part of the journey of self-discovery, and now is not the time to shy away. In order to survive, you may have been conditioned to suppress what makes you uncomfortable. You might have found yourself in a temporarily awkward place with someone and don't know what your next step should be. You may have found yourself in a temporarily awkward place with someone and don't know what your next step should be. Be honest. Say when you don't know something and be open to learning. The Great Goddess offers you this alignment task. Make the discomfort, awkwardness, and the uncomfortable sacred. Think of what would happen if you made what you considered a flaw, loss, or failure a beautiful, integral part of the art of your life. Every breath you take is sacred. Every mistake you make is a gift. And every time you learn from a relationship is blessed. Bless all parts of you and your life for you are sacred in the heart of the great goddess, who sees only beauty everywhere. I invite you to take time to reflect on that message. If it feels good to you, you can journal on what was coming through for you, what you felt, what you think, what connections you made, what was inspired, what was challenged or triggered in you. I'm tapping in to see how we're relating this back to celebrating our logic and our creativity. Okay. So, the message that I'm getting here is that when it comes to your creative expression, you need to allow yourself to make mistakes. You need to recognize, you're being invited to recognize that there is great art, great learning, great power in the mistakes, in the uncomfortable, awkward energy, using that to create, using that to express, using that to fuel your art is important. And it's very logical to allow yourself to make mistakes, even though, especially with the Virgo energy, Virgos do not like mistakes. They do not, they're very critical of themselves. They're very critical of when they make mistakes. So if you have found that you're very critical of your creations, that you're very rigid and structured when it comes to the fun that you allow yourself to have, the games that you play, the hobbies that you have, like maybe you've been wanting to start a new hobby or get into something, but you weren't good at it and you kept making mistakes at it. So you just completely dropped it, even though it brings you joy. Okay, so logically, we're celebrating our logic in this house by allowing ourselves to celebrate the uncomfortable, celebrate the awkwardness, celebrate the learning curve, celebrate the mistakes. Allow yourself to tap into that truth that everything is beautiful, even the mistakes, and this is how we learn. And especially when it comes to our creativity, if we're judging the value of it before it's even been expressed, we're just stifling our creative energy and our creative flow. So this is what I'm feeling for the celebration of logic. It's like, in order to celebrate logic, we need to be less critical and we need to just logically accept that mistakes are a part of the process. And I'm also getting this message of like, if you're doing something for the validation of other people seeing the value in it, that's not logical. We create to express. We create because it's coming from within us and it needs to have an outlet. It needs to be brought into form through words, through music, through paint, through any sort of movement, whatever it is. And if we're stopping ourselves every step of the way to be like, okay, is this going to make me money? Or is this going to be accepted? Or is this as good as this other person who does it? You're just clamping down on that creative energy and you're not doing yourself any favor. And it's not logical. It's not logical to expect you to create like anybody else creates. It's not logical to expect it to be in its perfected form as soon as it comes out. It's not even logical to be doing it for somebody else or for some or other external goal. Okay, we create because we need to express from within our beings. And when you just allow that to be messy and uncomfortable and awkward and imperfect, and you allow yourself to learn from that, there's so much that you will gain from that. And then you can go back to analyzing and be observant about what worked and what didn't work, and maybe adjust your approach or maybe go back to the work and see how it can be improved. But in this moment, in this lunar phase, you're just being invited to be logical in the sense that it's logical to make mistakes. No one's perfect out of the gate. Okay? That's not life. That's not real life. That's illogical to expect that from yourself. So let yourself off the hook. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Let it be awkward. Use the awkwardness to express. You know, maybe write a poem about the awkwardness that you're feeling or do a dance that's really awkward just for yourself. Okay, for no other reason. Nobody needs to see it. If you want to put it out there, there's medicine in that too, but it's not about putting it out there. You're not doing it so that other people will see it. You're doing it so that you can feel the power of your own expression of it and sitting in that uncomfortable place, making that sacred, making that art. That's your message from the Great Goddess. Let me know how it resonates. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.